The psychoconsumption cage is part of the American mirror mental disease. The American mirror mental disease is showing we don't have a proper reflection and people haven't developed inhibitory neurons. The psychoconsumption cage is thinking about what we consume, how we consume it, and questioning how we account and prosper from that. The psychoconsumption cage is when every dollar you spend goes to contributing to environmental degradation. The basic theory is you've been socialized into seeing mass environmental damage as normal. You ignore how the environmental degradation is tied to the fundamental premise of our economic model. Freudian evolutionary developmental psychology. You are marketed to since you are a child, so you don't even see the natural environment. For the average person, they aren't informed of the environmental costs of their purchasing decisions. An individual's buying power should be used as a strategic vote supporting sustainable businesses, but isn't today due to market ignorance. Researching the physiochemical materials economy, I found the solution to be market education. People need to be informed to make a better purchasing decision. The knowledge that you vote with your money in the economy is the premise of the Money Talk shirt. Get yours at philosophies.com. Rewriting the books, history. Seeing your way out of the socialized business corporatist environment to realizing all of its resources are based off natural systems that are not accounted for and in trouble is to see the psychoconsumption cage. As you can see by watching the story of stuff, it's not just the logistics, it's the fundamentals. All of what nature does for free is not added in our economic doctrines, and it is having its effect on the overall health of the earth through global warming. The earth is finite, but we have a model of infinite waste which only serves to trap us in its conundrum. We don't pay the true costs of doing business. For the economy to account for the problem, there needs to be a carbon tax. Otherwise, it's negative externalities which are written off in the books, in paper, but not in the real world. Understanding we have to account for what nature does naturally for economics to be sustainable is why there is a focus on the UN's Sustainable Development Goal number 15. The goal is to create a better economic system that promotes sustainable use of ecosystems. Details, disaster market education. To put it briefly, here are some environmental problems that are rarely talked about and are affecting and exacerbating the global climate crisis. Soil depletion, ocean dead zones, ocean acidity, Atlantic Ocean garbage patch, Pacific Ocean garbage patch, red tide in Florida, flooding in Miami, flooding in the 9/11 memorial. If you don't know about these environmental catastrophes and what caused them, you can't properly vote with your money. In other words, steer the economy with your purchasing power. Solutions. The biggest contributors to global warming are agriculture, transportation, power stations, and industry. As discussed in the Sustainable Miracle Diet Journal, there is every reason to have a plant-based diet. It's both healthy and sustainable. Beef is the biggest contributor to global warming. It takes around 2,000 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. Gaia suggests making commercial cattle ranching illegal. This will lower supply, driving the price up and make it less desirable. Ways you can help become more sustainable is by getting solar panels on your roof, drive an electric car that gets power from renewable sources, use your purchasing power strategically to only buy from companies that are sustainable. If companies are progressively becoming carbon neutral and sustainable with little to no landfill, they need to say that to the public. That way people can use their buying power appropriately. Foodie. We should be creating, promoting, and getting our children addicted to a food system that is the apex of health and sustainability by investing in a state-sponsored food system. We have created a food system that is causing global warming, and the solution is to change our tastes. We do that by socializing and normalizing the next generation from a young age to a food system that is healthy and sustainable. And what is healthy and sustainable is a plant-based diet. I asked the question in the Sustainable Miracle Diet, the milkman might be more efficient than the grocery store. The University of Michigan recently tweeted a study that found meal kits are 33% more efficient due to less waste. The premise of any treatment is to get cognition right in order to positively affect behavior. How we are hurting our own propensity for medicine is nowhere more evident than in deforestation. When you perform deforestation or pollute the ocean, you are taking away genetic diversity and its resources encapsulated in the geographic range. Put another way, if we understood as a species that every 100 meters of rainforest or seabed provides us with 1,000,000 years in evolutionary development for medicine, we would value nature much more. But again, the problem is we don't write what nature does naturally into our economics. Due to apex species needing the most environmental resources, their conservation should be represented in the economy for a healthy ecosystem. A better environment comes with better political representation. Other species don't have representation in Congress when they should, because their survival is key to a balanced ecosystem. Humans need to be the stewards of animals rather than their owners. Christmas and hip-hop. Psycho tendencies include associating love with consumption and valuing money over love. This is shown on Christmas and in hip-hop respectively, and the behaviors are attributes of the psycho-consumption cage. Christmas has become a season of consumption rather than a season of giving. Capitalism is such that love is about consuming resources with impunity. You're not thinking about the consequences of buying into the American system through the dollar and its natural and neglectful environmental effects. If you listen to hip-hop, it values hoes over a strong bond with a woman and glorifies their objectification and violence towards women. Hip-hop propagates a mentality that values sex rather than companionship. This can be seen as sick when what men in hip-hop should be desiring is at least women with integrity. From their chains to cream to making it rain, hip-hop is about glorifying consumption and ostentatious consumerism of cars and jewelry, etc. This lifestyle has a high carbon cost. Just like with socialized food, we are socializing today's youth to desire a sick, unsustainable lifestyle, and it is quintessential to point to hip-hop as an example. The American Mirror Mental Disease. As discussed at the beginning, the psychoconsumption cage is part of the larger American Mirror Mental Disease. In that work, you come to understand that the problem is the species' need for a better reflection. They need an example to look up to that behaves correctly. One of the biggest problems is that people aren't aware of the problem. The next step is informing them what they can do about it and taking action, finalizing the resolution. Some examples of a good reflection are the Island Adventure Season 17, Episode 17 of Family Guy, and Little Dicky's new music video, Earth. Island Adventure recognized the problem informing millions, while Little Dicky did that and had a website to go to in order to understand the crisis. The problem is the Little Dicky site was lackluster. I give him a 4.7 out of 5. To get a 5 out of 5, you would have to make a popular piece of art and have an informational docuseries done by professionals. That would get a 5 out of 5. I have an idea for a video game where it's a free world, roaming world type, and it's the realistic future dystopia if we don't deal with the psycho-consumption cage. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my family. You're awesome. I love you very much. And until next time, you take care, all right?